In an attempt to slow the negative effects of a changing climate, countries around the world are turning to geoengineering strategies. Initiatives such as biofuel, hydroelectric power, and carbon offsets are among the most popular and have significantly positive effects on environmental concerns. However, many of these mitigation efforts are negatively impacting indigenous communities. One example of these groups is the Kivalina Nation in Alaska. This nation is currently vulnerable to being forced to relocate as a result of climate change. This decision is being made without the consultation of the community itself and without regard for the cultural and spiritual impacts this sort of migration could have on the people. However, this is only one of the many mitigation efforts that is having negative impacts on indigenous communities. In many instances, geoengineering development projects occupy indigenous land, thus disrupting the communities and destroying their connections to the land. Indigenous communities like the Kivalina are especially impacted by this issue, as the effects of climate change negatively impact them in combination with other pre-existing difficulties, such as political and economic marginalization, loss of land and natural resources, violations of human rights, and social and institutional discrimination. Indigenous peoples are uniquely impacted by environmental concerns, as their connection with the land is spiritual and cultural rather than just merely physical. In many instances, these communities are forced to choose between migrating from their traditional views of the sanctity of the land they occupy or physically migrating from their homes to other areas. Unfortunately, this issue is only expected to increase as more and more mitigation efforts are put into place. This issue can be a tricky one to navigate, as both issues are incredibly important and must be considered. However, there are ways to move forward with geoengineering while also protecting the rights and freedoms of indigenous nations. One solution is to be more inclusive of indigenous voices in decision-making conversations by governing bodies on various levels. This is crucial because many non-indigenous groups are often unaware and unconcerned with the specific needs and wishes of these communities, and their involvement in decisions that directly impact them is a more ethical approach.